Welcome back, comrades. Uh, Hang on. I gotta get something up to show everyone again. Bring this over here. Yeah, this is how we do it. Okay. Oh, right. There's always black bars on my version of the screen for whatever reason. It's supposed to look like that, but well, I mean, okay. The display looks right for you comrades at home, so that's good enough. I can live with a little distortion on my end. Let's see. Right, I gotta get the link out. Let's go here. Wait, hang on. Oh, that's right. We were finished the investigation. Right? Yeah. Okay, hang on. I thought there was going to be more investigation, but no. Let's see. This is... Okay. Double voice again? Really? How is that possible? Is it the headset driver acting up again? What the? Oh, right. Huh? Oh, I see. Okay, so this still works. There. Okay. Well, I treat this as more of an investigation than a proper trial, but because we're trying to get to the bottom of what's going on, I'll leave the stream title as is. I just need to... All right. Okay, so I've posted there. I just gotta go here and here and then here and then what the... Oh. Okay. Then I'll just put this here. so there, then there. That's automatic. Then here. Oh. How's this? There. I think I turned the... No, wait. That's right. I think Perry did that because of the audio quality in Remembrance of Shadow. Oh, you say the stream in general is really quiet. Okay. Well, at my end, it looks like normal volume. You may want to check the volume setting on your Twitch player there. See if that's not turned down. And oh, that reminds me. There is one other thing I gotta do. And that is go here. Do this. Okay, and I believe that's it. Yes. Okay. Okay, we're golden. Now I just need to go over here and turn this off because there is no tentacle thing on screen right now. Yeah, that would do it. That would do it, Fire. Good to see you too, by the way, Sparkle. Let's see. Yeah, strange. Maybe you had said it like that before because you were in a voice call and something in your browser was interfering. Because I know I end up having to do that a few times. On occasion, I should say. Anyway, now this is working. Shall we return to the great departed soul? 23rd October, 8:52 a.m. The Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber. I can't believe it's been 6 months since I was last allowed to work in court. And now here I am, back at the Old Bailey. Potentially, don't remember messing with sound settings recently, yeah. Ah! Mr. Naruhodo! Good morning, Professor Hairbrain. I don't understand! It doesn't make any sense! The atmospheric pressure in here is off the charts! I've never felt anything like it! It's crushing me! I feel it every time I'm here. That gravity. Well, this is Britain's highest court. But are you telling me it's fitted with some kind of device that can actually control air pressure? I think it's probably all in the mind. Yes, well, you won't let me down, will you, Mr. Naruhodo? I'm counting on you in today's trial. To save my life! To save the secret of my super high-voltage instantaneous kinesis machine from being made public! Yes, I understand. I know what I have to do. I have to establish that the explosion 2 days ago was nothing more than an unfortunate accident. Well, I'm sure there's nothing to worry about, really. Justice will prevail. My commiserations, Mr. Naruhodo. You appear to have been lumbered with a most tiresome case here. Knew it. Mr. Schultz! I didn't expect to see you here.
That was very mean, Bruno, leaving me alone at home with Hurley. It took me at least an hour to wake him.
Is it... Are you...
sir, I am he. Here, Hairlock shows. Oh, I've heard all about your exploits, even whilst living in Germany. Does it absolutely have to be an accident? What if someone else sabotaged the machine? Yeah, I'm thinking someone else probably that's probably what actually happened. But sorry for the crackling there. I'll put this away. I'm thinking someone else sabotaged it, but I don't think they have any idea who that could have been. But I think, given the nature of who died, there could have been a lot of people. There are a lot of people who would have wanted to do something like that. But let's keep going and see what happens. I was living in Germany.
Oh yes, Rance Magazine is on sale in Germany too.
This month's installment was sublime. Your deduction in the adventure of Silver Blaze was wonderful. Ah yes, a memorable case indeed. It concerned a snake, I seem to recall.
No, that was the Speckled Band.
Well, thank you for coming. I do appreciate your support. Oh, my voice is a little quiet compared to the... Let me actually just put the game back where it was. There. Maybe Perry hadn't been tampering with that. How's this for balance? Is that better, Fire? Alright, cool. Yeah, I put it about back to where it was. Anyway. I do appreciate your support. I'm sorry to disappoint you, my dear fellow, but I'm afraid I can't stay. The voice is a bit different? What do you mean? The mic quality? Do you mean to tell me that the driver messed up again? Oh. I have urgent business at Madame Tussman's. Well, maybe. Does my voice sound okay, or does it sound robotic, or what's going on? Because I know I've been having problems with my headset's drivers lately. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute. I think I might know what's happening. Here, if we go here... Okay, that's... Then if we do this...
How's this? Is this any different? Okay. There. I've set the microphone to be what it's supposed to be. Has my voice quality changed? But anyway, maybe it's just that I moved the mic a little farther away from my face. I don't know. Anyway, Sherlock says he has urgent business at the Wax Museum. You mean your waxwork job? No, the waxwork abduction, of course. Madame has engaged my services. You would say undo whatever I just did? What? Like, put the mic here? Or... Oh boy. Alright, I'm gonna have to unplug the thing again. Alright. Fingers crossed. Okay. I'll bring the music back in a second here, but do I sound right now? Does it work now?
Yeah, I just unplugged the headset and plugged it back in. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm just gonna do this, audio, music off, back, and then we go options again, audio, music back on. What? Madame has engaged my services. So you're trying to get to the bottom of that ransom note, are you? Fire, I don't think it's gonna get any better than this. I'm sorry. The week's wages depend on it, as does the safe return of the waxwork, naturally. As such, I intend to give it my undivided attention. Oh, well, never mind then. I understand. Of course, with my skills of observation and reasoning, resolving the matter will be as easy as proverbial pie. I have an idea. I shall return forthwith. I can do this to see if the problem continues to be at my end or not. Wonder how to get the music back. Anyway, let me try this. Okay, can I? Yes, I can. Oh, yeah, it's something with Twitch. I am currently using a tool to test my own mic and listen to myself, and I sound fine. It's not a problem with the mic. It's a problem with your Twitch player, I think, or your internet connection, or I don't know what's going on, but it's not my microphone. There. You may have been hearing my test like as an echo there just now. But sorry about that. But yeah, it sounds fine to me. Anyway. I shall return forthwith. For until I solve the case, I shall have no money to afford a pie of any description.
Oh, then you must absolutely give it your full attention, Hurley.
Quite, Iris, quite. But life is riddled with irony, you know. Whenever I give something my full attention, I have a quite insatiable desire for a pie. One of the universe's intractable mysteries, you might say. If I do this instead... Okay, I undid the thing that you said made it bad, and now it's back to the way it was. One of the universe's intractable mysteries, you might say. Oh yes, quite, definitely, absolutely, I totally understand. Is someone a little starstruck? I wish you the very best of luck, Professor Hairbrain. I'm just going to make absolutely certain that... Yep, okay. Oh! Why, thank you! Before I depart, Mr. Naruhodo, a word in your ear, if you please. What's this about? As you have remarkably little grounding in science, I feel I ought to inform you. As compelling as this super-high-voltage instantaneous kinesis hypothesis may be, a practical implementation such as was attempted by the professor at the Great Exhibition is quite impossible. Ah, there's the music. Yeah, sorry, I can't... There's nothing else I can do, Fire. But the professor said the demonstration was a success! Yes, it would appear that he fervently believes it was.
I've read Professor Bunnybrain's paper about it too, Runo, and I have to say, I'm sure it can't be done. It could barely be done theoretically, let alone practically.
So he's completely barking up the wrong tree? But how can an experiment that had no possibility of succeeding in fact succeed? That's contradictory. And it's that contradiction that will be at the heart of the trial, I've no doubt. What's that supposed to mean? Now, I must hurry along. I wish you the best of luck, my dear fellow.
See you later, Hurley! Well, it looks like you're on your own today, Runo, but chin up, you can do it! You can do it!
Oh, what about you, Iris?
No, I'm afraid I can't help. I have something I need to do.
I see.
It's gonna be a big surprise for you when you find out what it is.
That sounds ominous. Counsel for the defense and the defendant. Court is about to be in session. Make your way into the courtroom at once. We're on our way. An experiment that the laws of science say can't possibly succeed. And a scientist who's convinced that it did. That's the riddle you have to unlock here, Ryunosuke. That's the key to this case. If you remember correctly, the victim may have been corpse launched to the other side. Yeah, that's what we're thinking. That's what we're thinking. That's what I'm thinking anyway. But there are other possibilities. 23rd October, 9:10 a.m. The Old Bailey courtroom. Oh wow, a lot of top hats.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. We are sitting today for the public trial of Professor Albert Harebrain. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed.
The prosecution is ready. The defense is ready, my lord. I'm 6 months out of practice. That's more. Susato has vanished. I'm without Susato-san today. Oh, I think I know what it is. There. I moved the mic away from my face again. How's this? Is it just my imagination, or does the air in here feel even more oppressive than usual?
So, I must say I recollect the victim of this case all too well, Mr. Oni Osman.
Mr. Osman was well known as a financier, though that was merely a front for his diverse criminal activities. Ah, okay. That's good, Sparkle.
It was only a month ago the man appeared in court prosecuted by you, Lord Franchich. But the jury unanimously found him not guilty.
Because every member of the jury had been bribed by the sound of it. These powerful London criminals are prepared to go to extreme lengths to keep their freedom.
But 2 days ago, on 21st October, Mr. Osman met his end. The work of the Reaper, was it?
If that is how your lordship would describe divine retribution. But the fact remains that Mr. Osman's death was a direct result of the actions of the accused, Professor Harebrain.
Very well then. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you have been selected at random to represent the will of the people. Are the 6 of you ready to fulfill your societal duty?
I'm most gratified to have been selected to carry out this important civic duty, my lord. This guy conflicting art style, maybe? Something's off about that guy.
To have a man's fate in the palm of one's hand. Oh gosh, oh golly, it sends shivers down my spine.
Science experiments, magic, conjuring tricks, courtroom trials. All are nothing more than performances.
Any spurious scholar that defiles the reputation of science deserves to hang.
Yes, the judge did just accuse Vampire Man of murder.
We have to listen to what's said on both sides of the fence and, then settle on one. That's it, isn't it?
Wow, okay, that's something. It's the guy from the Wax Museum!
Wasn't like this in my day, wasn't like this at all.
That's the police killer Otter Mole look-alike. Again. And he's as exhausted as ever, it seems. You feel like he's going to drink the red juice? Oh, maybe.
No, as I'm sure you're all aware, the incident we are here to judge today tragically took place at the Great Exhibition shortly after its opening.
Juror 5, I think, is a child, yes. Though the death toll could have been far worse, with the exception of the victim, no one was killed. Nevertheless, the dream of the science being exhibited rapidly turned into a nightmare for the spectators. He is probably going to shoot someone.
A tragic turn of events, and as such, the eyes of all London, no, if the whole world will be on this trial. It is our duty to reach a swift and just conclusion, I feel. So, your opening statement, please, Lord Van Zieks.
At the heart of this incident is technology never before demonstrated anywhere in the world.
One of science's latest developments, I take it. The government is keen to capitalize on the Great Exhibition to improve Britain's technological advantage.
The technology being demonstrated by the accused was described as super high voltage instantaneous kinesis. You can ask him to take blood samples. Oh, good point. Yeah, if we don't have Iris on hand, so he'll have to do it.
Good lord!
It's designed to disassemble human subjects using extremely high voltage electricity and beam them instantly to another location where they are subsequently reassembled.
Is such a thing even within the realms of possibility?
Well, I don't believe it, that's for sure. Disassembling people with electricity? My goodness, how shocking!
Ha! The whole idea is absurd. The hypothesis would never stand up to scrutiny. Sir, I believe you are a fellow of the Royal Society, are you not? An expert in your field?
I am! My word on the matter can be considered final. Instantaneous kinesis is poppycock! So this expert and Mr. Sholmes are in agreement. It's impossible.
What is the prosecution's view on the matter?
The prosecution would assert that the accused's instantaneous kinesis demonstration was a success. Yes, the teleporter dilemma. What?
What rot! Order! Order!
The professor's hypothesis is currently under investigation by the British government. If it is deemed to have merit, a substantial research grant would be made available. The accused made use of the invention built on his new hypothesis to take Mr. Osman's life. In order to be the sole benefactor of the grant. Wait, I thought he said he was gonna... What? But... This disastrous demonstration was no accident. Success in that it's a murder plot. In a manner of speaking. It was carefully designed from the outset to end the life of the victim. I thought he said he was going to look out for his buddy.
Thank you, Lord Vengeance. The prosecution's stance is clear. But you will now bring forth witnesses to substantiate your claims.
Gladly, my lord. Or is he going to throw it? No, he wouldn't throw it. That's not like him. Bailiff, show the first witness to the stand. Witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court. Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector at Scotland Yard's Homicide Division. Was on duty at the demonstration on the day in question and in charge of the following investigation. Albert Harebrain, scientist! Perhaps he is, and that'd be why he asserts that the teleportation device was successful. So Van Zieks thinks that if this is found to have been a successful murder, then Harebrain, then Harebrain would lose the then Harebrain would lose the privacy to his machine, but he would still get the grant. You think? Is that what you're thinking here? Is that what you think Van Zieks is thinking here? You were born in England, but have been carrying out research in Germany in recent years, correct? Yes, that's right. After graduating from university here in Britain, I went to work in Germany and made an amazing discovery, which is what brought me back. I had to demonstrate my incredible hypothesis at the Great Exhibition. What you demonstrated was incredible, all right. An incredible explosion. But the science was a success. The instantaneous kinesis worked. Everyone saw it. They must have done. Yes, there was the terrible accident, but the demonstration of my hypothesis was a success. Well, that much is undeniable. Shown in this photograph taken by the forensic investigation team. Oh, what's this?
This was taken inside the Crystal Tower, I take it. The centerpiece of the exhibition, no less.
What happened here? What's this bloodstain about? That's right, my lord. Seems the victim ran straight into it. Ah. So he did get corpse launched. Let's see. We're just trying to get at if Vampire Man is trying to watch out for Science Man, he'd probably assert that the teleportation device was a success in an attempt to throw the case. Yeah, I don't think throwing the case is like him. I don't know what's going on here. That's right, my lord. Seems the victim ran straight into it. Corpse launched.
I see. Very well. Submit the photograph as evidence.
Shows an apparent stab wound to the chest. See? That's what I was looking at, yeah. As the court said, the victim of the incident was Mr. Odie Usman. There have been a number of allegations made against the man, but putting them aside for the time being. He was the man who financed the research for the experiment and the demonstration itself.
I see. So to summarize the situation, the defendant is accused of taking the life of the man who funded his work. Would that be correct?
Whee! Yep. Exactly. But couldn't it be that the explosion was caused by some malfunction in the apparatus used for the demonstration? That's right! That must be it! My splendid machine! My poor splendid machine! You saw it yesterday, didn't you? We can't even examine the wreckage thanks to the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. What? The wreckage? The wreckage?
But that being the case, how can the facts be established? How can it possibly be determined whether this was an accident or a deliberate malicious act?
Extremely simply, my lord.
I beg your pardon.
Isn't that right, witness? What? Sorry, me? No, your neighbor. Yes, sir. It was murder, plain and simple. Anyone can say that with complete certainty. What? How can he possibly think that?
Thank you, Inspector. I think we had better proceed to formal testimony. You will explain to the court on what grounds you claim this experiment to have been a front for murder.
A front for murder. The corpse that went crashing through the Crystal Tower had a broken neck. I made a minor miscalculation in the angle of the beam projection. That's all. That was my mistake. But the post-mortem examination revealed another injury, a fatal wound. There was a lesion in his chest where he'd clearly been stabbed by something sharp, right in the heart. So the victim was killed before he went anywhere. And this fella's the only one who could have done it.
An extraordinary business.
1 second, I'm gonna have another look at that photograph. Okay, there's shattered glass, stab wound. Okay. I wanted to see whether there was anything else of note in this picture other than the stab wound. Not seeing much.
An extraordinary business. In addition to suffering a broken neck, the victim was stabbed in the heart?
Information I would really like to have heard from someone other than the judge. The coroner says death would have been open instant from a wound like that. You could say, in fact, that the victim was killed twice by the accused. No, that couldn't be further from the truth. I have here the experiment plan document that was submitted to the security team. Victim stood himself inside something called the bird cage, ready to be beamed instantly. To the second level of the Crystal Tower, about 25 yards away. The experiment did not go according to plan, however. As the machine was put into operation, there was a large explosion. The blast caused the beam transmitter to point higher than intended. Accordingly, the kinesis resulted in the birdcage materializing in mid-air. From where it subsequently fell, crashing through the glass of the Crystal Tower's large round window. Plot twist, murdered person has situs inversus or whatever that condition is called where your internal organs are basically mirrored and he was not actually stabbed in the heart. Watch, yeah, maybe.
My word. Well, it assumes the victim's neck was broken upon impact with the tower, then.
I'm so sorry, I didn't mean for this to happen. The machine was just too powerful. But honestly, really, I swear, it was just an accident, a terrible accident. Unfortunately, that excuse can't save you. Now, not considering the sharp murder weapon that pierced the victim's heart. Murder weapon? What are you saying? This is the autopsy report submitted by the coroner. The prosecution would like it entered into the court record.
Your request is granted, counsel.
The autopsy report of the victim, Mr. Osman, his neck was broken from the impact of a violent fall and he was stabbed in the chest with a sharp object.
I was there in person, you know. I saw the whole ludicrous performance.
1 second. Okay, no, there's no statement about the order of events. Even with that excuse, wouldn't it be manslaughter or gross negligence at best? I think that's what they're going for, yeah. Harebrain accepts that he deserves to be punished for his responsibility in taking this man's life, but it wasn't intentional. If it's found to have been intentional, then he loses then the Scotland Yard is going to get to dissect his invention, and he won't be able to patent it anymore. Oh, I do still have the crossbow. Yeah, that's a good point, Fire. Always carry a crossbow. Yep, that's right, Sparkle. The crossbow was probably the murder weapon.
It's all a ludicrous performance. The only other person on stage with Mr. Rasmus was that disgraceful excuse for a scientist.
Then really, by all accounts, it must have been him.
Hard to think otherwise, really. Very well. Counsel for the defense, proceed with the cross-examination, please.
Oh, yes, my lord. I need to focus here. It's been a while. Affront for murder. Have a look at our evidence again. Relative positions of that. Yes. Photograph. Green cloth. Okay. And a crossbow. Okay. Alright. Corpse went crashing through the crystal tower had a broken neck. Minor miscalculation of the angle of beam projection, that's all. Okay. Post-mortem examination revealed another injury, a fatal wound. There was a lesion in his chest where he'd clearly been stabbed by something sharp right in the heart. So the victim was killed before he went anywhere, and this fella's the only one who could have done it. I'm gonna press those last two statements. Hold it! The defense knew nothing of this crucial information! The prosecution received this report from the forensic investigation team only this morning. That was the first we knew of it as well. I can only apologize for the impossibility of informing the defense. Sarcastic and insincere? Thanks. So what was the nature of this sharp object? Among the accused's tools that were in use at the demonstration, one is of particular interest. This. Oh, was this loaded into the crossbow? He could have been launched then shot in midair. Someone tried to trick shot before trick shotting was a thing. Imagine.
Ah, yes, that would appear to be some kind of screwdriver, wouldn't it, Counsel?
Ah! There he is! My trusty little companion, Andrew! Andrew, of course. Oh, do you know each other already? He's one of my dear friends, like all my tools. I've named them all, you know. We're one big happy family. Andrew is my flathead screwdriver, of course. His brother, Michael, is a crosshead.
Well, it would appear that your beloved Andrew has a red stain on his sack.
Ah! That isn't... It's blood, beyond all reasonable doubt. No! That's not all. The long, sharp shape of this Andrew fellow is completely consistent with the victim's wound. What? What?! Yeah, Harebrain's fun.
Order! Order!
Yeah, they noted it being shaped like the letter A in last week's investigation.
The court will enter this friend of the defendant as evidence.
The screwdriver has been entered into the court record. Okay. Traces of blood at the tip, and it matches the shape of the victim's wound. Okay. So one of Professor Harebrain's tools is the murder weapon? Great. Oh yeah. Gotta case the thing. I love how everyone just went along with calling it Andrew. Yeah, me too. This is blood. Mr. Esmond's, no doubt. This is the problem with looking at murder weapons. Oh. Can't find anything out of place. What about this? I've seen this unusually shaped handle before. It's the same screwdriver that was lodged in the grill on the floor of the kinesis machine. Which could be important information, so I should definitely make note of it. The details of the screwdriver have been updated in the court record. A metal screwdriver that was found poking through the grill in the base of what remains in the kinesis machine. That's a very distinctive handle. Okay. Okay, so it was at the kinesis machine. We know that. Okay. Is there anything else? Anything else of note about this screwdriver? No. Alright. I went to look at Andrew and heard I said I was going to case it. Give it a good look over. Like I always do with the 3D evidence. I'm gonna press this, and then if that doesn't turn anything up, I'm gonna present the crossbow. What grounds do you have for saying that? Ha! Do you really need to ask? There were only 2 people on that public experimentation stage in front of the whole crowd. The victim, Mr. Odie Usman, and the accused, Professor Harebrain. And we know for certain that before the experiment, the victim was alive. That's right, I saw him with my own eyes! Furthermore, following the explosion and kinesis, nobody went anywhere near the body. In other words, only someone else on stage could possibly have done it. Oh, here's something.
Excuse me.
Great Scott, he says. Professor Harebrain, do you have some information that may be relevant here? Professor! Ah! Sorry! I was just calculating the optimum coefficient of electrolysis to separate molecules in the human body. It was actually Michael. Watch. We'll see. We'll see if Michael comes up again. And the witness stand is the best place for that? Okay, I can relate to that one. It seemed as though you might have something to say about Inspector Gregson's last remark. Yes, that's right! Of course! Oh jeez, how is the paper not tearing with all that scribbling? Good question, Sparkle. He just said that nobody else could have done it, didn't he? Yeah, that's right. Who else could have stabbed the victim, eh? I don't know! But there's no way that I could possibly have stabbed Mr. Usman, as you say. Huh? Explain, please, Professor. Of course. This cold-hearted policeman may not be aware, I suppose. But humans are warm-blooded mammals with blood running continuously through their veins. I had heard. Then surely you see, if I'd plunged something the size of Andrew into the man's chest, the whole stage would have been a bloodbath! No, a blood swimming pool! Ah! But thousands of Londoners were watching me at the time. And yet not one of them claims to have seen a swimming pool of blood! Well, no, I suppose not. Honestly, just leave this to Harebrain. You see? Not one! True. I didn't see anything like that. Well done, Professor. That was a great counter-argument. forgive the discourtesy if I savor a drop from my hallowed chalice to accompany my old friends at dosing. Here's to you, Albert. Oh, you're too kind, Baroque, but I'm really not a patch on you. No, you're not. No? You've neglected to mention one crucial possibility. I have? A particular situation in which very little bleeding would result from a stab wound. Ah, of course! Inspector, enlighten the court, please. Yes, sir! Where are they going with this? Where are they going with this?
Very well. You will amend your formal testimony now, Inspector Gregson.
The weapon the victim was stabbed with must have been left in his body whilst he was beamed through the air. No, it wasn't.
Objection!
He drained all the blood beforehand. Now, see, that's my job. I don't think Hairbrain has that in him. Or maybe it was Van Zeek's. You know, it could have been Van Zeek's who drained all the blood beforehand. Because that's his thing, isn't it? You say that while the weapon remains in the body, there's very little bleeding. Is that unequivocal? Look, there was no blood in the experimentation stage, even though that's where the fellow was stabbed. Yeah, you got it, Sparkle. The only explanation for that is if the screwdriver was still in his body, stopping any heavy bleeding. Bet the glass of red juice he poured out was from the victim. Oh, maybe. Maybe that is the nature of his hallowed chalice. I don't know. It's common medical knowledge, my learned friend, even on your side of the world. Yes, but about this screwdriver. The thing is, we actually saw it at the scene ourselves, on the experimentation stage. What? It was on the floor by the wreckage of the machine, poking through a metal grill. I went to pick it up, but the detective here stopped me. Isn't that right, Inspector Gregson? Well, now you come to mention it, yes. Inspector, are we to understand you that you permitted the defense counsel to investigate? That you contravened the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act? Huh? No, not at all. I wouldn't do that. I just let him look, nothing more. I was very clear he wasn't to touch a thing. Yes, that's true. This screwdriver was in plain sight on the stage. But it shouldn't have been, should it? What are you getting at? If this tool had still been in the victim's body when the victim was beamed away by the machine, then it shouldn't have still been on the stage. Ah! That's right. It should have been beamed across to the Crystal Tower along with Mr. Usman. And been found still lodged in the victim's chest.
Order! Order! How do you explain this, Inspector?
I don't... It looks as though everything that the victim had on his person moved with him when he was beamed. If the screwdriver was still in his chest when the instantaneous kinesis occurred, obviously that should have been beamed to the destination as well. You! This is a strange situation. Even though people are saying that this instantaneous kinesis is a scientific impossibility, we're still basing arguments on the assumption that it did actually take place. Alright, time to tighten the screws here. My lord! I like how everyone needs me to put one and one together for them. Yep. Everyone except seemingly the professor. If the prosecution is unable to explain this inconsistency in its argument, we can only conclude that the testimony given in support cannot be relied upon. Lord Van Zieks is stumped! Oh dear. What is it this time, Hairbrain?
Do you have something to say, witness?
Yes! Yes, I knew it! It bears out! The equations hold! Mr. Naruhodo, don't worry! About what? No, shut up, Hairbrain Man. Without delving into the details, there is no inconsistency. What? You'll bet he's about to say the thing only teleports organic matter? Why is he incriminating himself like this? Even if Andrew had been lodged in Mr. Usman's chest, my trusty tool wouldn't have moved. Andrew remaining on the stage is consistent with my calculations. What? What?! It would seem your illusions have been shattered. Clearly we should hear the accused's explanation. Spoken like a true scientist. Yep, or should I say, this brilliant scientist's explanation? Just when I'd found an inconsistency in the prosecution's argument. Scientists.
Very well. The defendant will testify again. Provide us with the scientific explanation as to why the inconsistency asserted by the defense fails to hold.
The name of Apollo I will, my lord! The inconsistency explained. To be clear, I'm still at the stage of gathering data in my research. My hypothesis states that kinesis cannot transport metal, though, hence the metal weapon would have stayed put. In other words, the point just raised by Mr. Naruhodo isn't an inconsistency at all. Metal! Metal! Idiot. How did this guy get a degree? Mr. Osmond was the patron of my research. Without him, my work wouldn't have been possible. Now I have a duty to protect the incredible machine that we built together.
So, the thrust of your testimony, Professor, is
That based upon his hypothesis, metal objects cannot be moved by this method of instantaneous kinesis.
in other words,
In other words, since the screwdriver is made of metal, even if it remained lodged in the victim's chest, its subsequent discovery on the stage despite the victim being found elsewhere is not an inconsistency.
and therefore...
And therefore, Professor Albert Hairbrain could still have been the killer. My great hypothesis holds, you see! We had to make the cage used to contain the subject from wood for that very reason.
I was not addressing you, witness.
Professor Hairbrain. Yes? Professor Hairbrain. Yes! Whose side are you on here? I don't take sides, Mr. Naruhodo. No. My only interest lies in upholding my hypothesis. I'm a scientist, after all. If you were a real scientist, then your interest would be in disproving your hypothesis. Is he working for us or against us? It's very hard to tell. Let's see how you cross-examine this testimony, my Nipponese friend. Yes, fire away, Mr. Naruhodo. Well, this one's easy.
To be clear, I'm still at the stage of gathering data on my research. My hypothesis states the Kinesis cannot transport metal, though, hence the metal weapon would have stayed put.
Objection!
Professor Harebrain, you say that according to your hypothesis, nothing made of metal can be beamed by instantaneous kinesis using the machine you made. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. Spot on. Exactly correct.
Hang on a second here. That seems too easy. So, let's see. Okay, no. No, it really was that easy. I didn't miss any side stuff. In that case, I'd ask you to have a look at this photograph that was taken at the scene. In particular, I'd like you to pay attention to the victim's face. You can clearly see that Mr. Usman is wearing a pair of spectacles with a metal rim.
What? Metal? No! No! Metal can't! That's not... metal? No!
We've already established that the proposed murder weapon, the screwdriver, was found on the stage. However, if your hypothesis correctly predicted that outcome, it should also have predicted that the metal-rimmed spectacles would be found in the same place.
Ah, my hypothesis! My hypothesis!
Professor Harebrain, this isn't easy for me to say, but your hypothesis is clearly flawed.
Ah!
Order! 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 Counsel, what is the implication of this?
If on the day in question the alleged instantaneous kinesis never actually took place, then it's entirely possible that the victim was killed somewhere other than on the stage. And in that case, someone other than the defendant could have been the culprit.
But my hypothesis is sound! I proved it that day! The experiment was a success! The experiment was proof of all my work!
Objection! If I can say something here, in my capacity as a fellow of the Royal Society. Yes, juror number 4, go ahead. As a man of science, there's one thing I simply cannot abide. That's a fraud who pretends to be a fellow man of science!
What? Wait! Great Scott! Are you suggesting my science is suspect?
It's just been disproved, hasn't it? In front of all of us. In other words, the whole demonstration was complete nonsense from start to finish. Believe me, my fellow jurors, when I tell you that this man is a heel, a bounder, and a fraud. I say the wreckage of that machine should be stripped down and thoroughly examined.
No! Never! That machine is the essence of my entire hypothesis! It's protected by the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act!
What the devil is that blasted act all about, eh? Who made up such a daft rule?
I don't like the way this seems to be going. What's the best way for me to help the professor? I mean, obviously I'm gonna have to raise an objection.
Objection!
Professor Harebrain has yet to perfect his invention. That would seem to be the case, yes. But even so what? Going to such trouble and expense to create a fake machine to display in public, he would have absolutely no reason to do such a thing.
Objection!
He had an obvious reason to do exactly that. For the research grant money.
Ah!
If the government was foolish enough to have deemed the man's ridiculous notion plausible,
I can't settle on a voice for this guy.
he and his conspirators would have received a handsome sum indeed.
Yeah, no, all that happened is juror number 4, or was it 3? Royal Society guy called Hairbrain a fraud. Yeah.
Conspirators? What would be the value of such a grant? £10?
You're an order of magnitude out, madam. £500 a year!
Oh, you could live handsome on that much for years!
The Society's noticed an increase in bogus public demonstrations in the field of science recently. And plenty of scientists arguing with each other to get the largest slice of the funding cake. People's greed is plenty motive enough for murder, I assure you.
No! I haven't deceived anyone, least of all the government. My hypothesis is sound, the science is sound, please, you must believe me!
Objection!
No matter how unbelievable this hypothesis may seem to you, ladies and gentlemen, the fact remains that the victim was transported instantly to the Crystal Tower. Which means that the experiment was a success.
Ah, Baroque!
And therefore, the only person who could possibly have committed this murder is the accused.
Ah, Baroque. Where is this heading? I have no idea.
My lord, if I may,
Yes, Lord Vengeance?
the prosecution would like to summon new witnesses to the stand.
New witnesses? What would be the nature of their involvement?
They were spectators of the demonstration at the exhibition, who were occupying special seats.
Eyewitnesses?
Very well. The court grants the prosecution's request. I should very much like to hear from eyewitnesses to the incident.
The prosecution's stance is clear. This experiment was no pastiche. The accused killed the financier victim there on the public stage before the very eyes of the spectators. Now, my learned friend.
Oh, yes?
It's time for you to make your own stance clear.
There's clearly a flaw in the professor's hypothesis. I can definitely see that. But where does that leave me? Where does that leave me?
We shall take a short recess now, during which time the prosecution will prepare its new witnesses to take the stand.
As you wish, my lord.
Good. In that case, court is adjourned for 20 minutes.
To be continued.
Right now. October, 10:44 a.m. The Old Bailey, defendant's antechamber. Mr. Naruhodo! What on earth were you playing at just now? Or rather, what on earth were you playing at all along? My hypothesis, my amazing hypothesis! You've been picking holes in it from the start! Sorry about that. But you promised me! You said you'd prove that dratted explosion was an accident, not murder! You said you'd keep my precious invention from falling into anyone else's hands! But all you've done so far is try to undermine me! Yes, I did make you a promise, you're right. I said that I'd believe in you and fight for your freedom to the very end. But I also told you I was no scientist. I don't understand your hypothesis. The fact is, there's an undeniable flaw in your logic, isn't there? But if I just run through some equations... Yes, you see, it's because my work is incomplete! Perhaps it is.
Nevertheless, a man died as a consequence, didn't he?
Oh! Oh no! You're right. You're so right. It's all my fault. And I have no right to blame you for my failures. I'm a disaster. Not just as a scientist, but as a human being.
Well, that might be a little over the top.
While we're on the subject, what about Barak? He's being awful!
Claiming his old university friend to be a murderer, you mean?
He's a disaster! Not just as a prosecutor, but as a human being! Oh, but no, wait! He's the Reaper, isn't he? Perhaps he's not classified as Homo sapiens anymore.
Glad that's cleared up. Can I double check something with you?
Ah, yes? What?
The machine and demonstration you prepared, they were based entirely on your hypothesis, I presume? There was no trickery involved? Are vampires still Homo sapiens? Good question, Fire. I don't think so. Maybe. That's a really good question. I drew the plans for the machine with my very own hands. Every line was painstakingly drawn with the firm belief that science is the only future. So yes, it's true that my hypothesis hasn't reached maturity yet, but please, Mr. Naruhodo, you must believe in it. All right, Professor, I understand.
Counsel, defendant! The prosecution's witnesses are ready to take the stand. Court is about to be in session again. Make your way into the courtroom, please.
Reminds you of the movie Prestige now. Yeah, it does carry that sort of vibe now, doesn't it? It all hinges on that demonstration. If the professor's hypothesis is as sound as he claims, it leaves him as the only person who could possibly have killed the victim. What about the crossbow? But on the other hand, Mr. Schultz was adamant. A practical implementation such as was attempted by the professor at the Great Exhibition is quite impossible. So really, what should I be trying to prove here? Oh, hey, Nibble. You're in time for part 2 of the trial. 23rd October, 11 o'clock a.m. The old Bailey Court. That was right, wasn't it? It was.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby reconvene the proceedings of this court. Counsels for the defense and prosecution, are you ready for the new witnesses to testify?
The prosecution is ready, my lord. As is the defense, my lord.
So, Lord Van Cheese, I believe these next witnesses saw the demonstration on the day in question with their own eyes.
Indeed they did. Woke up in the middle of sleep, so I finally managed to make one of these streams again. Oh, nice! And as luck would have it, one of them is a police detective. We're going to be going for another 45 minutes here, so... So the testimony we are about to hear can be considered highly reliable. Perfect. A detective of all people. And you're staying awake without sleeping to watch this. Oh wow, the dedication of my comrades here. I'm touched. Really, I am. I'm not good with voice things, but wow, guys. Wow. Thank you. Thank you. The prosecution's stance remains unchanged. Though it ended in tragedy, the demonstration on the day in question was scientifically sound. And consequently, the sole person with the opportunity to have committed this act of murder is the only other individual to have been present on the stage at the time, the accused.
Thank you, counsel. The prosecution's position is clear. So, bring forth your witnesses now.
Bailiff, show the witnesses in. The witnesses whose proximity to the incident on the day in question will clarify the truth unequivocally. Oh, you've got to be kidding me! Witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court to hear.
My name is Balthazar Loon. I am the impresario of all the hot air balloons in vicinity of the experimental stage.
Oh, wait. Oh, okay. Balthazar Loon. I am the impresario of all the hot air balloons in vicinity of the experimental stage. Okay, he's Italian. Okay, got it.
My name is Wilhelm Gottsreich Sigismund Ormstein. I have come to see the great exhibition all the way from my home in Bohemia.
Aww.
I'm very rich. Inspector Gina Lestrade, Scotland Yard. I'm a great detective, even Sherlock Holmes agrees. I was on security duty at the exhibition, and I got to go up in one of them balloons. It was amazing.
Gina, again. But she did mention that she'd seen the disaster from up in a balloon, actually, didn't she? And she clearly loved every minute of it. There were 3 balloons flying near the public experimentation stage when the incident occurred. 2 of these witnesses were in one such balloon at the time and saw events unfold from the skies above.
You make it sound like they were in the clouds. It was only an altitude of circa 60 feet. Very low.
Well, you can't see nothing if you fly too high, can ya?
60 feet, about 18 meters then.
Thank you for your introductions. Now, you will give your formal testimony for the court. Kindly describe exactly what you witnessed, especially those of you who had a vantage point above the stage.
What happened to this guy's head? Bit of a bandage going on there.
It was an incident terrible. I am only grateful that my balloons were not damaged.
There's this huge bang from the stage, and then the next second another bang in the sky beside us. And from amid the smoke, a cage appeared out of nowhere.
Oh well. The cage, it fell from the sky like a stone and crashed into the crystal tower.
I didn't get a good look inside the cage, but no one went near it after it crashed into the tower.
Oh, maybe someone did trick shot it with the crossbow at the apex of its launch.
Most extraordinary collective account, I must say.
Could I just clarify something? There's a detail in the witness's testimony that I've not heard any mention of until now. Specifically, that there were 2 explosions? More precisely, 2 explosions in 2 separate places, yes. When the demonstration began, the balloon carrying the 2 witnesses was around here. There were other balloons in the air nearby at the time carrying other passengers as well, to be clear. Then, as power was supplied to the machine for the demonstration, the first explosion occurred. The so-called bird cage that contained the victim disappeared from the stage, and a moment later, the second explosion occurred directly adjacent to the balloon carrying the witnesses. The bird cage appeared at the site of the explosion, subsequently to plummet down into the crystal tower.
I was very surprised. Suddenly, a cage appeared before my eyes with a person inside. The blast was so hot, but I didn't want to miss a thing, so I kept my eyes wide.
Another balloon.
I still have lots of money.
Precisely who is this curious infant?
I'm told he is a young noble of Bohemian royalty. Apparently, he disguised himself in order to steal unnoticed into the Great Exhibition.
Yeah, I am here in London on a sightseeing trip with my elementary school.
We will have the benefit of a child's point of view in the testimony.
Do we really need that?
When I remove my mask, this is what I look like.
Ah, yes, I see. Delightful face, I'm sure.
Yeah, everybody says so.
Great disguise, then. The point is, the testimony of these witnesses further substantiates the facts for the court. Namely, that despite ending in an explosion, instantaneous kinesis was successfully demonstrated. And furthermore, that until the arrival of the police, no one approached the Crystal Tower where the victim fell. Therefore, only the accused, who was with Mr. Osman on the stage, could possibly have committed the murder.
Yes, thank you, counsel. The prosecution's views on the matter are quite clear. So, the defense's cross-examination now, please.
Yes, my lord. All right, the view from 60 feet up. Let's review this. Incidente terribile. I'm only grateful that my balloons were not damaged. Huge bang from the stage, and then the next second, another bang in the sky beside us. Wait a minute. Only grateful that your balloons were not damaged. But they were! They saw the moment the cage appeared in the air, though. Understanding that correctly, I think they saw the cage appear out of the smoke. Oh, hello, new person. J-Rain01. You know guy who collects candy canes for a living. Safe to say his collection is in mint condition. Good one there, good one. There were 3 balloons flying above the experimentation stage at the time, I understand? See. All 3 of them, my bellissimi bambini. My bellissimi bambini. They are very popular, signor. Some people will pay £10 for one ride. £10? That's more than my annual stipend.
£20 a month. That is my pocket money.
Royals have all the luck.
I got up there for free, I did. Played the old I work for Her Majesty's Police card, you know.
Detectives have all the luck. If they're so popular, why would you only be operating such a small number of balloons, though?
Because if I have too many in the skies, they could crash into each other.
The operators for the balloons were decided by lots, with each operator manning a particular area. Quick summon Exodia for an instant win. Wrong game, unfortunately. I do play a game where that would be feasible. It is not, in fact, Yu-Gi-Oh, but Exodia is not present here, unfortunately. No obliteration shall occur here by his hand. Ah, thank you, Sparkle. No, Exodia always works. Yeah, but Exodia only works if you have Exodia. I do not have Exodia here. Just imagine you're in a court case and you're losing, and then your lawyers pull out Exodia to win. Yeah.
Don't summon Exodia. Gotta draw all the pieces into your hand. Must collect them as evidence. Yes, that's right, Fire. We gotta find the Exodia pieces before I can do that.
See, and the zone above public experimentation stage is the most profitable. The other impresarios, they hate me.
Thank you, witness. I think the court has a clear picture of the arrangements for balloon rides at the exhibition.
Did Weevil Underwood rip apart my Exodia set and toss it into the ocean too? That happened, but it wasn't Weevil. It was... I think you can probably guess who it was. I dare not mention... He whose name I dare not mention. For fear of summoning him once again. The rust of the wheel.
Perhaps we could hear more about what you actually witnessed of the incident?
Right, I can fill you in there, my lord.
Yes, do that. Ask him on Thursday.
There's this huge bang from the stage, and the next second another bang in the sky beside us.
Okay, I'm gonna press everything first, actually.
From amidst the smoke, a cage appeared out of nowhere.
Hold it!
So you actually saw the accident happen from up in the air?
Yep. Isn't it amazing what a detective gets to do, huh? I'm telling you, Otto, being a lawyer is a mug's game. You should join the force, we can go flying together.
Yes, I do have a piece of his damaged balloon, but we have not confirmed that it is a piece of his damaged balloon. I'm pressing everything first in case there's something else I need to pick up first. You know me so well. Yes, well, anyway, could you tell us exactly what you saw, do you think?
Everything. We saw everything because we were up above it all. That dodgy cove climbing into that cage and that dodgy professor pulling all them levers. And that's when it happened. That's when there was that massive bang and the cage disappeared. Just like that.
You are describing the moment the subject's body was decomposed by the electricity, I believe.
I didn't know what to make of it. Then there was another bang right in the air. I looked round. There was a huge great fireball right next to us in the sky. And there was nothing.
Peter.
There was nothing there before.
Excuse me.
This is what I'm talking about right here. Master Gotts, does your memory of the day differ?
My teacher at elementary school said that when you meet someone for the first time, you should always use their full name.
Yes, what was it again?
Wilhelm Gottsreich Sigismund Ormstein.
Just the 4 names then? The point is, do you have something to say? Something to add in response to Detective Gina Lestrade's last remark, perhaps?
Oh, get it right, Otto! It's Inspector Lestrade!
Why does everyone have a problem with how I address them at the moment?
That is not what I saw.
Oh?
Yeah, there was a second explosion and it was right beside our balloon. That is true. But I'm sure... Which is what I said, eh? 1 minute there was nothing there, next a massive explosion. My teacher at elementary school said that when someone else is speaking, if you are rude enough to interrupt, you will have the most awful life imaginable!
Are all Bohemians brought up to be so full of joy? Another balloon.
Just before the second explosion happened next to our balloon, I clearly witnessed a green balloon flying in the sky.
This is the tip we needed, Fire. A green balloon?
What? I never saw nothing like that. Well, I did. I saw it, and you can't say I didn't. I will complain to the council. I will cry and scream.
I am rich, I can buy all balloons. Yeah, that's pretty much what he's saying here.
My testimony is the truth. I am Bohemian Prince. You cannot say it's a lie. That is not allowed. Playing the bleeding royalty card, are you? Typical.
Says the orphan who likes to remind people she works for Her Majesty's police. So why wouldn't Gina have seen the balloon? Because it exploded.
In that case, young man, I must ask you to amend your formal testimony. In the interests of cordial national relations between Great Britain and Bohemia.
It was not the sky that exploded. It was a green balloon that was next to ours at the time.
Let's press this, actually. A green balloon, you say? Are you sure about that?
Of course I am sure. I am a proud Bohemian Prince. All these questions are making me boring.
I think you mean bored.
Ah! English is very annoying. The language of my countrymen is far superior.
Ragazzo, it is very wrong to lie.
Lie?
Flying balloons never explode. For the same reason the planets never explode. It is logical.
Please tell me that doesn't mean logical.
If you insult me, you insult. If you insult me, you insult all of Bohemia.
Matai!
I will have the army come and shoot all of your stupid balloons out of the sky! All of them!
Wow, okay.
Here you are, Your Highness.
If only all international incidents were so easily resolved.
Now that peaceful relations have been restored here in the courtroom, perhaps we could return to the testimony. Did you also see the moment that the cage materialized, Mr. Lune? No, I did not see the explosion myself. However, the cage fell from the sky like a stone and crashed into the crystal tower.
Let's try this now.
Objection!
Oh yeah! Mr. Lune, in your testimony, you said that all three of the balloons you had operating at the time were undamaged.
See, that is correct. If they had been caught in the explosiones, it would have been terrible.
I wonder if you might know what this is?
I think it may be... See, part of a balloon. A burnt piece of the fabric of the envelope.
Sorry, the envelope?
Pardon. That is the large round part of the balloon, which becomes filled with hot air. It is made from very thick fabric lined with rubber. You do not want it to rip when you are in the sky.
Just as I thought. This piece of cloth was found near the experimentation stage. In other words, as Master Gotts testified, a green balloon did indeed explode that day. If all the balloons in the sky above the experimentation stage belong to you, Mr. Lune, then your statement that they were all undamaged clearly contradicts the evidence.
No! Mamma mia!
Balloon exploded that day, what did the man say so?
Maybe everyone on board was killed. Oh no, having just spent £10 for the experience? How awful!
Seems to me like these things crash 50% of the time anyway.
The instantaneous kinesis did occur, but after the explosion on the stage. The point of materialization shifted to a location occupied by a balloon.
Causing a balloon to explode? Yes, eminently plausible.
An unfortunate traffic accident, as it were. But it changes nothing about the pertinent facts. This I cannot accept! Hold it! Why not, Mr. Lune? You are suggesting that I am a liar! That person's died in a balloon incidente! There's no need to get fired up, Mr. Lune. The victim was the sole fatality that day. That's right, and I prove it! Balthazar Lune is not a liar! There was no such balloon in the sky! It is non possibile! You're saying it's impossible? Why? The balloon part of the balloon. Yep. This court has more important matters to discuss than the number of balloons that were operating that day. Aye! But we can't ignore the fact that nobody appears to have known anything about this other balloon until now. My lord, the defense calls for further testimony from Mr. Lune.
I concur. There is clearly more to the truth here than meets the eye.
Suddenly, Mr. Lune becomes Super Saiyan and solos everyone. Imagine. By the way, I don't know if that's J Rain or Junior Ein. How'd you find my stream? I'm curious. You're very welcome here. I'm just trying to place which promo got your eye.
I concur. There is clearly more to the truth here than meets the eye. It's imperative that we clear up the issue of this phantom balloon, I feel. Witness, you will give supplementary testimony about the balloons you were operating at the exhibition.
Ah, grazie, my lord. You were bored and wanted to watch more Ace Attorney. Ah, so you just searched up Ace Attorney stream. Yeah, okay. Welcome. Yeah. Saturday afternoons here, I'm playing through this and doing my best to voice all the characters. I should note, if you haven't checked the credits shop there, you can. I recommend you look through the options there because there's a fair bit of interactivity involved here, and of course Thursday evenings there's also VTubing stream courtesy of Peraltos, the God of Nightmares. Oh God, I just named him. Yeah, that may have been a mistake. Hopefully he's not going to show up in the next 20 minutes. Yes, this is part two. This is trial part 2 of case 3 of the second half of Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Mr. Lune's balloons. As I said, Balthazar Lune is no liar! Every balloon I had in the sky landed safely. All 3 of my balloons were carrying passengers. If they fell to the ground in an esplosione, what a catastrophe! But you can't get away from the fact that burnt up bit of cloth was found at the scene, can ya? Coppers at the yard reckoned it was probably some debris thrown from the explosion on the stage. This stupido ragazzo is mistaken. My balloons have the red and blue zigzags stripes anyway.
So your assertion is that the balloon this child saw was not one belonging to you?
See, exactamente. If he even saw a balloon in the first place, I do not like the sound of it. It is very bad for business. I have a good mind to sue the land of Bohemia. If you attack us, we will fight back. It will be war, all-out war. What happened to all-out war? Mr. Lune certainly doesn't appear to be lying. But that doesn't change the fact that the testimony and evidence are contradictory here. Yeah, this is a fun dynamic. If the defense is unable to find fault with the witnesses' statements, the court must consider them the truth.
Think long and hard on that, my learned friend. The situation has clearly changed now. You don't think Bohemia has the military power to compare to Britain? Probably not. But I think... I'm starting to think... No, I think Bohemia is comparing its military power right now to Italy. But not sure. One moment. I have been called to mowing duty, but I can finish up this stream first. So, just means we're not going to be able to go. Just means we're not going to be able to go over time. All right, I have to get to the bottom of what happened here, no matter what it takes.
Counsel, you may now cross-examine the witnesses.
Mr. Lune's balloons. Every balloon you had in the sky landed safely. All 3 of your balloons were carrying passengers. The Felton gun is Especione, yep. But you can't get away from the fact that a burnt up bit of cloth was found at the scene. The coppers at the yard reckoned it was probably some debris thrown from the explosion on the stage. Stupito, I got so he's mistaken. My balloons have the rhythm. Okay, so I'm gonna press these last 2 statements.
Hold it!
There was considerable damage to the stage and surrounding area, wasn't there?
Yeah, some of the cabs that were watching the experiment were caught in the blast and injured. Good job the old contraption didn't keel over, eh?
I hadn't even considered that. It seems there was great panic after the incident occurred. Nevertheless, the police shouldn't have missed a torn piece of the envelope from a balloon. Oh, right, yes, I also forgot to mention, normally I also stream Super Mario 64 stuff on Tuesdays, but right now that is on hiatus pending my PhD thesis defense. So right now we're operating on a reduced schedule, but that is a thing that will come back in the future. Thought I should bring it up. Anyway. Shouldn't have missed a torn piece of the envelope from a balloon. Inspector Gregson can expect repercussions.
Like me swiping all his fish and chips, eh?
The man's sole pleasure. None of this matters! That scrap of balloon envelope means nothing! Niente!
Hold it!
Your Honor, I object on the basis that we have plot armor and follow a very unrealistic court setting. Yeah, pretty much. There have been a number of more egregious cases of kangaroo court going on here on stream than in this particular part of the trial, or even this case. You mean the color is wrong? Si, senor. I do not have any green balloons in my warehouse! And yet, a piece of green cloth was found at the scene, and it's unmistakably from a balloon. Well, I do not know how that can be. For the sake of argument, let's say that the green balloon did explode above the stage. You couldn't therefore conclude that it happened on the day in question. Why not? There have been recreational balloon flights over Hyde Park operating from before the Great Exhibition. One could have exploded on some earlier date. Unfortunate, as I'm sure you would agree.
You believe it may have been from some earlier balloon accident that predates the exhibition?
Si, exactamente! As the senor says, it is not from one of my balloons. Clearly, this little ragazzo from Bohemia is mistaken about what he saw. Here we go again.
Excuse me.
Is something wrong, Master Gotts?
It's Master Wilhelm Gottsreich Sigismund Ornstein! Ormstein!
It was on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, something is very wrong! I know what I saw!
There was a green balloon. There was a green balloon there. I swear it. I swear all over Bohemia.
You can speak as much bad language as you like, but it changes nothing. If you do not have evidence, ragazzo, then I must tell your parents to punish you, eh? Perhaps we'll let the judge decide when it comes to punishments.
Evidence. What is this evidence?
To give a simple example, young man. A photograph, for instance, some tangible proof of what you claim.
Well, why didn't you say so sooner? I have the photograph here.
Good gracious!
What?
I have not been up in a balloon for a little while, so I was very excited.
Da-da-da-da!
I took lots and lots of photographs. Of the Crystal Tower, of the Bohemian exhibit, of the streets of London, of the hotel cellar, the balloon.
Imagine going to the king and queen and telling them to punish their son for lying. Yep. And the instantaneous kinesis experiment? Did you take a picture of that?
Yeah, one picture.
Really? You did take one? How old is he anyway? He seems to be very young.
But all I wanted was a ride in a balloon. I was not interested in boring experiments.
Never mind that. Can you show us that photograph?
Of course, and then you will see. You will see that I am not lying, that I really did see a green balloon.
Your Majesty, I say you must punish, and I'm dead. Yep.
Well, I see you are all too shocked to speak.
Yes, I think shocked is indeed the word, young man.
Yeah, perhaps you cannot see that it was a green balloon from this photograph, but that is not my fault! That is the fault of this stupid person who made the camera!
Here we go.
Ah! Ah!
This is pathetic. That is one very bohemian sounding cry.
Very well, the court will accept this photograph as evidence.
The photograph of the balloon has been entered into the court record. Let's have another look at it.
It's not my fault. It's the fault of the person who made the camera.
There is clearly something shooting up here from the crowd. See it? This? What was this? Choo. This is not pointed in this direction. Yeah, you can see that the person is still in the machine, too. Right there. He's just pulling the levers there now. Yep. You can see it all. Yep. But seriously, is this the crossbow shot? Well, never mind. I'm sure you have plenty of wonderful sepia memories to take home with you. In any case, when exactly did you take that photograph?
Well, it was on the day of the big explosion.
You don't say.
When I pressed the shutter release, there was this very loud bang, and a hot wind rushed over my face.
That means This photograph was taken a split second before the explosion occurred. Well, if you ask me, this black and white photograph changes nothing. I could not give the flying fig! I could not give the flying fig! Lovely language you've picked up. Mother figure. Why would the crossbow shot have a flash? Was it launched with something using gunpowder? I don't know. We know that there was a crossbow. As I thought, Mr. Lune's testimony just doesn't quite add up. The young Bohemian boy claims to have seen another fourth balloon. This is the crossbow. We have this. We found this at the base of the stage. See? That's why I keep coming back to a crossbow. The young Bohemian boy claims to have seen another fourth balloon. Mr. Lune vehemently denies the possibility, and it's hard to imagine the man in charge could be mistaken about the number that were in the air. Still, this inconsistency must tell us something, I'm sure. The shooter must have gotten 500 kills and unlocked the glowing skin. Maybe. And even though this is a team-rated game, we have children in the courtroom. Yes, he did say his were striped balloons. Okay. Yeah, this is a solid color, isn't it? Let's see, Sparkle. Let's see if you're right.
Objection!
Nope. Surely something about that last statement seems odd, doesn't it?
Would you care to mull over precisely what you find odd about it on your return journey to Japan?
I wouldn't expect to give the court an answer for about 4 months, though.
Rest assured, we should be happy to carry proceedings forward in your absence, Counsel.
He sounds serious! I have to prove my worth before he really does send me back home! Okay, so we've pressed that. We've pressed... I think we've pressed that.
Hold it!
Well, let's keep pressing, I guess. You couldn't just have forgotten one, maybe? Signor? I might not notice if I was given 100 lentils and one was missing. But we are talking about 3 enormous balloons! Do you believe I could make a mistake about something so grande and expensive? I took the liberty of having Inspector Gregson check this gentleman's warehouse. I have the report here. It clearly says a total of 3 balloons. Oh, that's a good point, Fire. I didn't see that.
It would appear no mistake has been made then.
Surely Miss Lestrade could have been sent for such a menial task.
What? Me?
Let's check Fire. Oh yeah, there is nobody in it. Good catch. Very good catch.
I'll tell you what I told the boss. East End kids like me can only count up to 2. Obviously that ain't true, but the boss bought it and said he'd have to go himself in that case. All 3 of my balloons were carrying passengers. If they fell to the ground in the espressione...
Boop. Oh, excuse me.
Objection!
Unfortunately, the photograph Master Gotts took can't tell us the color of the balloon. But it can tell us something else, something crucially important. That. It shows that the pictured balloon wasn't carrying any passengers.
Ah! My goodness, you're right! But surely all the balloons would have been carrying passengers? There would be no sense in it otherwise.
East End kids can only count up to 2. Hear that, Valve? They're perfect. Yep. I'm surprised I missed that one, Fire. Good one. Shunted it otherwise. See, they are for pleasure, for seeing the view. My balloons only fly with passengers. Which tells us that the pictured balloon isn't one of them. So assume that was the crossbow bolt which hit the balloon. Couldn't it have been a perfectly planned assassination attempted? I'm thinking that someone was plotting the assassination of the victim here, because this guy was like a criminal mastermind, posing as a philanthropist. Well, I guess a criminal mastermind taking great pains to maintain a public image as a philanthropist. So I'd say all kinds of people would want him dead. We're just trying to prove that it wasn't Hairbrain, the professor. Which tells us the picture balloon isn't one of them. So when the incident occurred that day, there was a 4th balloon in the skies above the experimentation stage. The mysterious green balloon. Look at Dog's little pose here. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the follow, J-Rain. I still haven't gotten how to pronounce that. How that is read. Thank you for the follow, regardless.
I know nothing! Niente! I can only tell you one thing. If this balloon was not carrying passengers, then it was not one of mine!
Oh yeah, he ain't keen.
Objection!
There are illegal tradesmen everywhere you care to look. Clearly, one such entrepreneur decided to capitalize on the opportunity presented by the Great Exhibition, and managed to operate balloon flights on Mr. Lune's patch without him realizing.
See, the competizione, trying to steal my profits. I did not notice because of the experimento that went wrong on the stage.
This 4th balloon exploded at the very same moment Mr. Esmond was beamed from the stage below. How could the kid have seen the balloon and not the balloon man or Ginny? That's what they're talking about here. Gina was too focused on the experiment stage, and the balloon man, I don't think, was in the air in the first place. This 4th balloon exploded at the very same moment Mr. Esmond was beamed from the stage below.
Right, so them scraps that fell to the ground after and left them scorch marks, they didn't come from the stage at all. It was bits of the balloon raining down. Because no one was in it, didn't get no attention.
A mysterious 4th balloon carrying no passengers silently floating over the experimentation stage.
Objection!
This photograph shows us nothing more. A stray balloon carrying no one and operated by some rogue trader. Clearly, it has nothing to do with the case.
Petrovich does elude me, I must say.
The court has seen sufficient evidence and heard ample testimony already. The prosecution calls for this trial to be concluded. Really? Have we really got to the truth yet? No. I can't let this opportunity slip away. The jurors' minds are made up. And not in our favor. What else can this photograph tell us? Is there nothing more we can learn from it? There's more.
Objection!
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, wait! Please don't give your decisions yet. The photograph from Master Gotts may well be hiding one more vital clue.
What's that?
A vital clue?
Objection!
We're well past the point of mere possibilities. It's time for definitives now, so tell the court. What exactly does this alleged clue in the photograph prove? The cause of the explosion? We can reasonably assume that the pictured balloon was destroyed in the searing heat of the explosion.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was not my fault.
Evidently. Because the bird cage from the Kinesis machine materialized in the sky where it had been flying. And the balloon, being filled with flammable hydrogen, instantly and explosively ignited. No,
That's not what happened. What?
It would appear that this photograph requires closer examination. Counsel for the defense, you will highlight the location of this alleged clue in the photograph for the court.
Of course, my lord. If you look closely, it's plain enough to see. And what's shown is linked to another piece of evidence we have. In a way that leads to an unbelievable conclusion. The clue that heavily suggests the real reason the balloon exploded is... right here.
Take that!
The timing of this photograph can only be described as miraculous. If you look, you'll notice there's a bright white line that appears to point directly at the balloon. Most likely a ray of light caught incidentally on the film.
I'm afraid I can see nothing of the sort.
If you look with a magnifying glass, my lord, it becomes clear what the nature of this bright line really is.
Goodness, what is that? Undeniably some flash of light, yes.
Oh, Collie, do you think it might be lightning?
But it couldn't have been a finer day.
I believe we may be looking at fire.
A bolt of fire and straight for the balloon like an arrow. Indeed, even to my aging eyes, it would appear to be a flame of some sort. My word! Are you suggesting this flame struck the hydrogen gas that filled the balloon?
Objection!
That's absurd. The balloon would have been 60 feet above the ground at the time. No flame could possibly have reached such a height. Yeah, good. Actually, it's my opinion that a particular piece of evidence found at the scene reveals how that is exactly what did happen. What evidence?
If such evidence exists, Counsel, then for goodness sake, present it, man! Which evidence explains this mysterious streak of flame that appears to be headed directly for the balloon?
The crossbow! Finally! Finally we get to present Exodia, I mean, the crossbow! This was found hidden at the foot of a small ornamental tree near the scene.
Good lord! Is that a crossbow?
An arrow dipped in oil and set alight could have been shot from this weapon, sending a flaming arrow straight into the hydrogen-filled balloon. Are you suggesting that crossbow was used to deliberately... Blimey, you're right! That string of light in the photo looks just like an arrow, doesn't it? Ye old gun. Yep. The esplosione of the balloon, it was... very likely the result of a flaming arrow from this crossbow igniting the hydrogen gas inside it. No!
Order! Order! Counsel, this is an extraordinary supposition.
If the aim was to cause the balloon to explode, the shooter could have used a gun, of course. However, there's an obvious reason why that would have been out of the question. The noise of the discharge? Of course. That's right. By using a crossbow, the projectile could be fired at the balloon silently. Well, yeah, if someone had shot a gun off in the exhibition grounds, it would have caused a real panic. But with the big esplosione, there was a very big panic anyway, no? I don't like this. I should be pleased to have found a plausible new explanation for all this, but something feels wrong.
Objection!
Do you understand the implications of what you're saying, my Nipponese friend? If a flaming arrow did indeed hit the balloon, then obviously it would have exploded. And if the birdcage appeared from the cloud of smoke that ensued... You normally can't even enchant crossbows with flame. From this, we can conclude that the perpetrator was cheating. When is the perpetrator not cheating, Fire? If the birdcage appeared from the cloud of smoke that ensued... Well, wait a minute! What are you really saying here? I don't get it. Was the birdcage beamed up into the sky after all, or what?
My goodness me!
Now I understand. That's what that sinking feeling is about.
I think there's a good chance that the birdcage was actually concealed inside the balloon all along.
What? Did I just hear that correctly, Council?
There's no going back now. The horse is bolted. Let's assume, as I said, that the birdcage was hidden inside the green balloon from the start. On stage, when the experiment was started, the birdcage in the instantaneous kinesis machine disappeared in a cloud of smoke. At that moment, the flaming arrow was fired from the ground, causing the green balloon to explode and drawing the attention of the spectators to the sky above their heads. Yeah, but extra cheating. They might be on creative mode or using commands. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. Yeah, but we saw that the cage was still visible here at the when the bolt was in midair, drawing the attention of the spectators to the sky above their heads. From amid the smoke, the hidden birdcage then appeared to fall down and crash into the crystal tower. I think you'll all agree it's entirely plausible that what I've just described is the real truth behind the miraculous experiment carried out that day.
Good grief!
Objection!
This is ludicrous. What you've described is no science experiment. It's child's play, a contemptible display of stage magic.
Both Mr. Sholmes and Iris said that the experiment was a scientific impossibility, in which case, this is the only way to explain what happened that day.
And in any case, the victim's body was found inside the birdcage in the crystal tower. If the instantaneous kinesis didn't take place, how do you explain that?
If I may put in a word, as a man of magic myself, such apparent discrepancies can easily be explained by some simple deception. Juror number 3! The balloon explosion may have served as a distraction to move whoever was in the cage under the device. I think that's what they're getting at here, yeah. All that would be needed is a doppelganger, someone who looked very similar to the victim, Mr. Usman. And having this other man appear on stage to front the show as a body double. Here we go. Yes, of course. So in fact, Mr. Usman must have been inside the birdcage that was concealed inside the balloon right from the start.
Objection!
That balloon would have been filled with hydrogen. We do have a magician in the jury. Yep. Anything hidden inside it would have been scattered to the four winds when it exploded. No one would ever have embarked on such a risky venture.
Not necessarily. The explosive force of the balloon gas would very much depend upon the mixture ratio.
We just happen to have a magician and a scientist in the jury.
Juror number 4!
Flying balloons are rarely filled with pure hydrogen, but a mixture of other gases, such as helium as well. Helium on its own doesn't explode, but by controlling the gas mixture ratio, the explosive force can be altered.
The mixture ratio?
Obviously, the victim's body would have suffered some burns. That would be unavoidable.
The thing is, if that's true, surely the body double and Science Man would have needed to be in on the murder. I don't think Science Man necessarily would have needed to be in on the murder, but the body double, yes. I think so.
That would be unavoidable. But not to such an extent as to render this whole obscene charade impossible.
So everything that happened can be explained, logically and scientifically. The explosion that engulfed the stage at the start of the experiment was no accident.
It was all part of an elaborate deception to make it appear that instantaneous kinesis had occurred.
Well, goodness me.
And if we accept that this is what happened, it means that the victim, Mr. Usman, was never present on the public experimentation stage to begin with. In short, he couldn't have been killed by the defendant who was on stage in full view the entire time. Get ratioed, I guess. This will be very hard for the prosecution to counter. Lord Van Zieks can't credibly maintain that Professor Harebrained is a suspect now. Cried out. Hold it! Mr. Naruhodo, I appreciate your efforts. Thank you. Professor? But you can stop now. Just keep your mouth shut, please. Sorry?
What's all this about, Mr. Harebrained?
I, Albert Harebrained, hereby confess that it was me who stabbed Mr. Odie Usman. Yes, it was me, with my faithful friend and partner, Andrew the Screwdriver. What are you doing?
Order! 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 Defendant, explain this sudden confession.
Professor Harebrained, what are you talking about? It's what I've said all along. I must protect my hypothesis and my precious machine. You stand there and claim it was all a trick, all an elaborate prank, but where's your proof? No, you'd have to examine the machine if you wanted to prove it, but then it would all be over. My beautiful hypothesis would be laid bare. I mean, the indignity of it! It's clear that you drew the plans for the experiment, but you didn't actually build it. It's quite conceivable that you were duped, Professor. If you'll just let me, I can prove back! Yes? I'll cooperate. I'll do whatever you say. I swear it. So please, ensure the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act is adhered to and protect my creation! So that's what's going on.
Pray forgive the discourtesy of filling my hallowed chalice at this critical juncture. Here's to my learned Dubonese friend.
What?
And his upcoming attempt to clarify the defense's position in light of the accused's confession. Do you intend to formally assert that the experiment was nothing more than a conjuring trick? Because the moment you do, the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act that protects the professor's invention will cease to apply. The prosecution will then demand a rigorous examination of the machinery involved in order to establish the truth. However, if you acknowledge that the machine is genuine and instrumental in the victim's murder, any chance of investigating will be crushed, and the confidentiality of the professor's hypothesis preserved. Well, Counsel, what is the defense's official position on this matter?
What Professor Harebrained, my client, actually asked of me was to prove that the explosion on stage was an accident and protect the secrecy of his hypothesis. Yeah, exactly, Fire. Why is he doing this when... Yeah, this is confusing. If he confesses to the murder and gets arrested, then yeah, they're gonna get to investigate the device. Was to prove that the explosion on stage was an accident and protect the secrecy of his hypothesis. But there's no way to do that without implying the professor's guilt. Do I protect my client's life by asserting his innocence, or do I uphold my client's request but see him condemned? Either way, I can't avoid betraying his trust. You've been silent long enough. Isn't talking your trade, my learned friend? Or has all knowledge of English escaped your confused Nipponese mind? Mr. Naruto! There's no escape here. I have to make a choice. But it's an impossible one. I have to give up on something. But what? The defense asserts that the defendant's instantaneous kinesis machine was, in fact, proper scientific invention or a conjuring trick. Either this isn't going to matter or we're going to get a non-standard game over. I still think it was a conjuring trick by somebody else. No, I can't say it. My client places faith in me. I can't just let him down. What must I give up on? What must I give up on is not the question you have to ask yourself here. It's what can I protect? Oh, it's her. What must I give up on is not the question you have to ask yourself here. It's what can I protect? Oh, she's back. Ooh. Hello again, Mr. Naruhodo. It's been far too long. Susato-san! But what are you... Hiya! Ah! My first Susato takedown in 6 months. There'll be time to talk later, Mr. Naruhodo. For now, we must concentrate on the task at hand. Which is working out not what I have to give up on, but what I can protect. Yeah, there's no way I get punished for what's essentially a 50-50. Professor Hairbrain! Ah, yes? Yesterday you told me that science is the pursuit of truth. Well, my job is to pursue the truth too. Yes, of course. And personally, I believe that you didn't stab Mr. Usman. I think you've come to realize something yourself too, haven't you? That your experiment and the machine you built with the victim are questionable. The truth behind that is what we must both pursue now. Your Honor, I see that you're about to cast a judgment, but you see we have plot armor, therefore you should give us more chances. I also have Exodia. So, you finally opened your eyes. What? And as for you, Albert, you can't ignore this any longer. Ah! Having heard my learned friend's assertion. Yay, wine throwing. Don't you have something to say? Balrog! Lord Van Zeeks. Gosh, I've never heard him speak that way before. In truth, there is one thing, something I've remembered that's of relevance. What? On the day it happened, just before I began the experiment, I saw a man near the stage. A man holding that crossbow.
I beg your pardon.
Professor! Did the man have any distinguishing features? What did he look like? Taller than me, and thinner than me, with straight hair, straighter and whiter than mine. Let me see, one less lens than me too, a monocle, a rather stylish black monocle. Albert about to go berserk and hop into the DeLorean and go back in time to prevent this incident. Yep. But one thing in particular will help to positively identify the man. You see, I know him very well. After all, he's the engineer who built my invention. Here we have our culprit. As I suspected from the beginning. What? He built the machine? That's right. Mr. Usman introduced him to me a year ago. He's a man by the name of Enoch Drebber.
Enoch Drebber! Does this name mean something? Members of the jury seem flustered. Not a name any scientist wishes to hear. The man's an abomination!
Not to name any conjurer wishes to hear either. Who on earth is he?
I'm afraid this isn't the first tale of this nature that I've heard in scientific circles in connection with that name. There's talk of other flamboyant experiments that turn out to be nothing but stage trickery in the end. Obviously, the rascal is after the government's research grant money.
When magicians are in need of money, I have heard of them resorting to these underhand tactics. Some acquaintances of mine with experience of such things have mentioned Enoch Drebber's name before.
The man is both an engineer and a magician. Yes, we're dealing with an unparalleled confidence trickster here. That's Enoch Drebber for you!
Dun dun dun.
So it's true then. My invention, my great machine, it was just a grand illusion?
Great Scotty is the ultimate trickster, yep.
Considering what we've just heard about Mr. Drebber's character, I'm sorry to say that sounds increasingly likely. Even though no one else believed it, I wanted to.
Oh, I think I get it. Drebber wanted to... Yeah. Drebber thought that by getting Hairbrain out of the picture, by framing him for the murder of some other guy, Usman, then he could get all the grant money to himself.
I wanted to believe that machine would function exactly as my hypothesis predicted.
Which is why you were so opposed to it being investigated, I presume.
I knew that if the machine was examined in detail, its construction would give away my hypothesis. Obviously, I didn't want that to happen, but at the same time, I knew that if it was found to be nothing more than a trick, than a work of deception, then everything I'd worked towards, all my research, all my dreams, my whole life would be over! I was terrified at the prospect.
So you really had no idea then, did you? About the true nature of the machine that was built, and the true nature of Mr. Drebber.
I never questioned anything. I didn't want to question it.
It's entirely possible that Mr. Usman and Mr. Drebber were working together to use you as a means of fraudulently acquiring the research grant money. And Drebber wanted it all to himself, so he got Usman killed and tried to frame Hairbrain for it.
When I announced my invention to the crowds that day, it was the finest moment of my career. I pulled all the levers and turned all the dials in exactly the way Drebber had described. When the smoke suddenly started billowing out, I panicked. I didn't know what was happening. But I really don't know how the whole illusion was made to work. I don't know anything anymore.
Aww. Let me confirm one final point with you, Professor. Do you now consent to the prosecution submitting the necessary paperwork to release your invention from the protection afforded by the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act?
Yes, please go ahead. I'm very sorry.
It would appear that we shall have to suspend proceedings for the remainder of the day now. Boyfriend Cheeks,
actually a little misty-eyed here. Like, really?
My lord. The court has newly been made aware of another party whose involvement in this matter is critical.
Yes, Mr. Trevor.
Gather information about the man. If possible, I should like him served with a subpoena.
And then he goes mad, makes the Terminator, and then causes him to take out the ultimate trickster, but in turn makes Skynet and wipe out all of humanity. Oh god. So who is this guy? Is this guy Doc, or is this Rick? Or no, he's not Rick. He's not he's not cynical enough to be Rick. Who's the, like, John Connor or something? Is that who we're talking about here? Or with pleasure, my lord.
Now, counsel for the defense.
Yes, my lord.
When we reconvene, I shall be looking for one thing and one thing alone from you. Evidence that the defendant is innocent of the crime for which he presently stands accused.
I understand.
Good. In that case, this court is adjourned until tomorrow morning.
We're actually half an hour over time here. I hope Dad doesn't notice. But as soon as it presents us with the save prompt, I'm gonna shut this down and get out to do that job. 23rd October, 1:36 p.m. The Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber. Well, technically James Cameron, since he made the movie, but yeah, who knows who this guy is? You never trust anyone with this crazy hair.
Mr. Naruhodo!
Yes?
I'm so sorry! I was wrong, you were right, I tricked you, you trusted me, I dragged you into my mess! Oh, how did it ever come to this? I'm so sorry!
They call him an engineer. You can only think of the TF2 engineer. I might give him that voice when we get to that part of the trial. Remind me, Fire. Did you really have no idea, Professor? About what Mr. Drebber was really up to, I mean? About what he was really constructing?
Naturally! That machine was the embodiment of my hypothesis, of all my hopes and dreams. I had complete faith in it!
Alright. In that case, I won't say any more. Now, sadly, the murder accusation against you still stands. So we must do as much investigation as we can before the trial resumes tomorrow.
Well, thank you for doing so much for me.
I'm so sorry for arriving late this morning, Mr. Naruhodo.
Arriving late?
Didn't you receive my postcard? I wanted to let you know when I'd arrive.
Postcard? What postcard?
I hid it from you, Runo, so it would be a surprise. Well, did it work?
I was surprised, all right, especially when she threw me to the ground.
Oh dear, I'm so sorry. I was just so happy to see you again that it sort of slipped out.
Maybe we could stick to more traditional displays of emotion in future.
Susie's train was late into London Victoria this morning, you see. But we made the coachman really whip the horses hard so she didn't miss the whole trial. I was watching from the gallery for a while, but in the end, I'm afraid I couldn't contain myself.
Well, I'm glad you didn't.
Oh!
Having you at my side in court gives me the strength I need to win. So, I'm delighted to see you back in London.
Oh, you're too kind, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm delighted to be here. I hope I can continue to be of service to you.
Of course. So, what's brought you back? Did Professor Mikotoba not protest?
Let's save all that conversation for when we're back at home, shall we? You know I've made one of my most special blends ever for this special occasion. Oh, Iris, how wonderful. I can't wait.
Susato-san was back in London. It's hard to describe how happy that made me feel at the time. But despite my elation... just throwing someone to the flow. to the flow. Our tale was about to take yet another extraordinary turn. Save current progress, yes. Okay. Like I say, I'm going to have to end it off there. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Be sure to follow. Make sure to subscribe. Those are appreciated. I have started working on emotes again. You may see the new one that I just put up a few days ago. Yes, all of you who have been staying up until ungodly hours just to watch this may now sleep. Yes, please do that. I do not wish to be responsible for future poor health. But also, join the Discord if you haven't. I'll get the bot to put a link up to it one more time. There, join that for events, free games, votes on what Perry and I do. There was something else too. It was events, games. Yeah. You'll also get to know in advance whether anything's happening at my end that may force a schedule change. So join the community. Join the cult. Anyway, that's it for now. And I'll see if there's anyone to raid. Let's see. Anyone I'm following live right now? Sadly, no. I guess that's just the nature of my current schedule. Anyway, I'll just end it off there then. Again, thank you so much for watching, comrades, and I'll see you next time.